The WiE calendar says that 600 plus events has been conducted in this year so far by the 71 SBs together. Finally, this grand finale, the 3-day WiE Summit. Today, the second day of WiE's 2020, we have a session on Art of Investment by Mr. Manoj. And on behalf of the WiE community, I extend a hearty welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
The task force of all affinity groups and SBs are our students. I take this opportunity to welcome all the panelists, Sanjana, Ashwati, Gayatri, Ankita, Purnima, Parvati, Navanita, Diya, Bella, and the moderator Megha of the second session, WiE Colloquium, a discussion on Industry 4. I also extend a very warm welcome to the section officials who have joined us, Mini Ma'am and other executive members. Last but not the least, a hearty welcome to all the delegates and all others who have joined us today. Thank you, and over to Amira.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your warm welcome. Next, I would like to extend my invitation to Ms. Deepa A.K., Secretary, Women in Engineering Affinity Group, IEEE Kerala Section, to introduce our keynote speaker of the day.
Good evening, everyone. I am happy to introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Manoj Dharmarajan. Mr. Manoj Dharmarajan is a gold medalist in post-graduation from University of Kerala and have an MBA in finance from NIFM Faridabad. He is an officer of the 1991 batch of the Central Services Group A of the Government of India. He has had various stints in different parts of the country. He has served in the senior positions in both Department of Telecom and Department of Post in Delhi, Mumbai, Himachal Pradesh, and Kerala. He also holds a diploma in French language and literature from the Alliance Française of Paris, France. He is a seasoned investor and an investment guru. He has delivered lectures on the art of investing in various parts of the country. He has also taken classes on the short string travel in the Department of Tourism, Government of Kerala. He is currently serving as controller in the Department of Telecom of Government of India in Trivandrum. He presented papers on facets of the telecom sector in various seminars. He is also a regular speaker at Tattva lectures organized by NIT Calicut, an inveterate traveler. He has had visited 60 countries and 6 continents. He has already crossed the Arctic Circle, climbed a volcano in Africa to see the mountain gorillas, reached the end of the world in Patagonia, Argentina, ate a scorpion in Cambodia, had a date with Dracula in Transylvania, and also ate a crocodile meat in Australia last December. He is now planning a trip to Antarctica, the last continent. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Shall I start?
Yeah, sure, sir. Platform is all yours.
Okay. Thank you so much, Deepa ma'am, for such a wonderful introduction. What I propose to do is, I think I've got an hour, 1 hour. So I'll speak for about 45-50 minutes, and along with the presentation which I have, then I'll give you about 10-15 minutes to question. Because whatever I'm going to speak, it's quite revolutionary. It is not something which you will see in typical investment seminars. So as Deepa had introduced me, what I do is I've been investing for the last 20 years, and very meticulously doing at that. And then I use a bit of that money to travel all around the globe. I know many of you would love to do what I am doing, what I've already done, to travel all around the globe. The fundamental, the problem that we face in achieving most of our dreams is money. Money is the biggest problem, which all of you, people who are young, they may not realize it now. I mean, people who are students, but people who are actually working and in the industry, the teachers, they know it is a major hassle in helping you achieving your dreams. So my purpose of my lecture is to think of it slightly differently. Always think of it slightly differently from the way other people look at it. That is the only motto that I want to tell you, because most people invest primarily in real estate, gold, fixed deposits. My mantra is very different. It is only go through mutual funds, equities, and always have a very long-term perspective. Always look at it in the long run. Never try to make money in the short run. Try to put money 100 rupees today and expect 200 rupees in 6 months. It doesn't work like that. I have studied all the millionaires and billionaires in the world. I mean, it has been a fascinating subject for me. Anybody who has done it legally, that is the whole point. Anybody who has done it legally has taken a long time, maybe minimum 20 to 30 years to hit that bracket. And we are talking about legal means, certainly not any illegal means. Illegal means will definitely land you somewhere else, which is not good. So I hope, because I don't have much time, normally all these sessions are always interactive for me. It take out an hour and a half, 2 hours, but right now we are running short of time. So what I'll do, I'll straight away switch to my PPT. After that, I'll give you enough time to question me. I have someone who has already done that, been there and done that, you could say. So I am going straight away to my presentation. I suppose people can see this.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, you can see that. Now, okay, let me go through. Let me start it. I'll finish it around, I'm starting around 5:37. I'll finish around 6:15, 6:20. Try to wind up as fast as I can. So please do question me. You must question me, in fact, because whatever I'm going to tell you is quite revolutionary. Though you will realize it as I go through. I understand there are students as well as there are working professionals. Most of you are, of course, mainly women. One of the fundamental things that you must realize is, it's a funny thing which I'm going to tell you. For married women, at least investing is one topic where you should not listen to your husbands. You should not. There is a big reason I'm saying this. I've got several instances of, I can tell you n number of stories which has happened to me. I had a charge of Karnataka long back, some time ago. So there was this young lady, Rashmi. So she came to me once and told me, sir, you took the class for my batch in 2012. And I was supposed to invest. I asked her, why, what happened? She said, no, sir, I couldn't invest. I didn't invest because I said, why didn't you invest? You would have become a multi-millionaire now if you had invested. She said, no, my husband didn't agree. So this husband's not agreeing is a major hassle, I have found. Because I am put it in my PPT as well. One of the slides you will find that. And I also read somewhere in Economic Times that all Indian men think that we are India's answer to Warren Buffett, the great American investor, the legendary investor. So without much ado, let me go through. So this is my first part of my slide. This itself will give you, it's actually a bang for the buck. This itself is the primary purpose of my lecture, to show you what is the avenue available for all of us. So this is my own story. See, the first slide is my own story. Although I had invested only 5,000 rupees in 2003. So it goes like this. When I was sitting in Mumbai in my office, prior to joining in Kerala, I was in Mumbai for about 4 years. So the Times of India article, there was an article in Times of India in this business column. So they had published a table, and the table showed this. If you had invested 10 lakh rupees, I know 10 lakh is a huge amount for students, but there will come a time when all of you will be employed. Of course, there are several of you who are working. So this is primarily for them. And for the students, I just want to engender a curiosity, a bit of instill that spark in you to go ahead and invest. So the story goes like this. If you had 10 lakhs in 2003, you had several options of investments. And one of the safest option is a provident fund, public provident fund. And for us, being a government servant, is a general provident fund. If you had invested that 10 lakh in 2003, today, the current value of the investment is 37 lakhs. 37 lakhs. But the only thing is you don't have to pay any taxes.
Cardiology ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ അവിടെ ഒരു എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗിലും കൂടുതൽ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ്.
Is anyone talking? Okay, so let me go ahead. The second option was a bank deposit, where you could have put it in a fixed deposit in a bank, public sector bank. It was slightly higher interest rates. And coming back to GPF, it used to be 8%. Now it has come down. Provident fund, it was only 8%. Now it has come down to 7.1 or so. A very conservative investment. In a bank deposit, we used to get about 10%, 9%. People who could invest in 2003 can imagine. So current value of that 10 lakh will be around 43.28 lakhs. But you have to pay taxes on it every year. Whatever little interest that you get, you have to pay taxes on it. But this is the third option, is the one which I did. A good equity diversified mutual fund. I'll come to that. What exactly is diversified? What is a mutual fund? So I invested only 5,000 rupees then, not 10 lakh. I didn't have that much money at that time. Now, of course, we have, touch wood, have a lot of money. So I invested in a fund. That was what the Times of India said. Sundaram mid cap. Normally, in an audience, I ask the question. I ask you to guess the current value. But now, of course, it will take a lot of time away if I keep asking people. So I'll cut down the time. So first option was 10 lakh in a provident fund. It would give you 37 lakhs today. Second option was bank deposit. It would give you 43 lakhs today. That is 37, then 43. However much you guess, you will not be able to guess the current value in a conservative one. Sundaram, Sundaram is basically a conservative company. Tamrams. So they are a conservative company. In that fund, mutual fund, after 17 years, the current value, I'm going to tell you now, it is 5.34 crore. I didn't make it. It is actual, net asset value, actual figure of yesterday, 5.34 crore. Now, that is not the point. That is not what I want to tell you. It's not 5.34 crore. It is how many times more than what you would have got in a provident fund and what you would have got in a bank deposit. It is several times, isn't it? 50, 60 times more. Now, the funny thing is, which most of you may not know, what are the taxes that you pay on it? Suppose you take the money out. Whatever that rule is, there is something called the grandfathering of investments. I'll explain that later. Whatever that accumulated up to 31st January 2018. Say, for instance, you invested 10 lakh in 2003. After 15 years, 2018 means 15 years, it came down to say 4 crore. Your profit is around 3.9 crore. Because your original investment was 10 lakhs. Whatever that you had invested and your profit was 3.9 crore, whatever, whenever you withdraw that money, whenever, it is zero. Taxes are zero. That is the point. Please remember that taxes are zero even today. Now, it is called grandfathering of investments. Now, the new government introduced something else. It's called anything beyond 31 January 2018, you pay 10%. 10% over and above a profit of 1 lakh. That is it. So ultimately, you don't end up paying anything. Recently, I am filing my income tax returns. To tell you the truth, I'm filing my returns now, tomorrow or day after. I withdrew 33 lakhs for our trip to Australia and my trip. And Deepa had introduced me. When she introduced me, she said I had a date with Dracula in Transylvania in Romania. So for all my trips and my family trips with to Australia, I withdrew 33 lakhs. That's the funny thing. So this is a true story. I withdrew 33 lakhs in the year 1920 financial year, April 19 to 31st March 2020. Now, how much tax am I paying? Zero. 33 lakhs is what I have withdrawn. And the system says, I have not done any calculation. Their own mutual fund system tells me your total profit after 31 January 18 is only 58,000 rupees. Up to 1 lakh, as I said, 1 lakh, there is nothing, no taxes. So my total profit as of now, system shows the 58,000 rupees. But that is not the profit. The profit is, look at that date, 31/1/2018. Profit was again, out of 33 lakhs, 25, 26 lakhs was profit. But anything up to 31/1/2018, you don't have to pay even a single rupee as tax. That is the point. Now, why? First of all, the point that I want to drive home is, why is it that the government wants us to do this? And I know whatever I have shown you, like 10 lakh becoming 5.34 crore, it is unbelievable. So look at the last line of that slide. Last line of that slide. Why people do not invest? In spite of this, because there are several of my colleagues, I know I am in my 50s. some of you will be in your 50s. Ask many of your friends. Most of them are not investing. Most of them. Why? Because of pure ignorance. It's absolute ignorance. That is what I wanted to change. And today, we have about 9 crore mutual fund folios out of 135 crore population. 135 crore is the population of the country. 9 crore is the number of mutual fund folios. It does not mean that 9% people invest. It does not mean that. Because I have about 10 or 15 folios. My wife has the same. All the friends whom I have introduced to investments, they all have 10 to 15. So, in effect, we have only 1 or 2% of our entire population in the country who invest in equity mutual funds. That is the point. Again, why? Why? It's primarily ignorance, nothing else. Ignorance is the word. You know, when Dr. Samuel Johnson was the man who first compiled a British English dictionary. So he was very happy after compiling this dictionary. Then he was walking on the streets of London. So he was walking on the streets of London, and an old lady approached him and scolded him. Just scolded him. He said, he thought he would be praised. He was not praised. She just scolded him. So he said, ma'am, why are you scolding me? She said, why didn't you include this particular word, Mr. Johnson? She's told him some word. So he was taken aback. So, his classic answer was classic. The question was, why didn't you include this word, Mr. Johnson, in your dictionary? So he said, ignorance, madam, pure ignorance. So that is the fundamental thing that is happening in our country. It's primarily ignorance. Because of ignorance, people have fear. Let me come to that. Now let us look at what is happening in advanced countries, developed countries like United States. 42% of the population invest in mutual funds. 42%. In our case, it's maximum 3%, including mutual funds, stock market, bonds, debentures, etc. Everything put together, it's only 3%. These are a couple of quotes that I've given for to liven it up. Money isn't there everything. Money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. Rita Davenport said, money is better than poverty if only for financial reasons. Woody Allen. So Sundaram Midcap that I showed you, it delivered a return of 29.9% during the last 17 years. 29.9% per year. You can imagine. So I'm not saying that you should expect that much. I'll come to that. Now, what has happened here? Let us see what has happened. During the last 17 years, people who follow newspapers, people who read newspapers, looking at stock markets and stuff like that, several times in the last 17 years, you might have read that market crashed, mayhem, murder, nosediving, collapsed, that. So many words you must have seen. So many words. So much so that it has intimidated you out of investments. People are forced to go to real estate, gold, and fixed deposits. That is what has happened. But in spite of everything, looking at after a lapse of 17 years, the current value of that fund, Sundaram Midcap, which I showed you, 10 lakh rupees is valued at 5.34 crore and no taxes at all. What has been happening here? What has happened is the power of compounding. Every year it is compounding. Something which I want to tell all youngsters out here, and even the professionals, whenever you invest, please do not look at it from 1 year point of view, the 1 year point of view, 2 years point of view, 3 years point of view. Always have a horizon of minimum 10 years. See, I started with 2,000 rupees in July 2002. Just 2,000 rupees in July 2000. Today, my portfolio, our portfolio, I know my wife is also attending this. Our portfolio is in crores. Absolutely. How? It's amazing. That is what has been happening. That is exactly what I want to tell you. Please always look at it from a very long time, with a long-term perspective. Now, what has happened in this case? Power of compounding. Now, let us look at who said what. Albert Einstein, the great scientist, described the power of compounding as the 8th wonder of the world. He also made one comment. One who understands the power of compounding earns it. One who doesn't understand, he pays it. So this is a sample portfolio. I'll come to what is a portfolio and all later. Well, let's come back to why people don't invest in mutual funds. Basically, this is a study done by SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. So they found it's primarily ignorance. Ultimately, it's clear case of ignorance, nothing else. When you do not know, we are scared, we are afraid. So what is the purpose of my this class? Is to make you wealthy. And how do you become wealthy? The fundamental principle is no one becomes wealthy overnight. You must remember that. It takes systematic investing, discipline, and endurance, or inheritance if you are lucky. If your father is rich, when my grandparents are rich, you will inherit. So if you are, well, that happens only if you are extremely lucky. Most of us may not be. And the world's biggest investor is Warren Buffett, the legendary investor. There is a comment about him. He is worth about 63 to now, it's slightly old VPT. He is worth about 83 to 90 billion dollars. $1 billion is about 7,000 crores. The comment about him, there's a comment. When did he make his money? Answer is while he was sleeping. What does it mean? Means he invested and he forgot about it. That is exactly what is at play here, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what is at play. You have to invest and do not look at it 4 years together, minimum 10 years. That is the rule. There is another book that I read called Millionaire Mind that changed my life. So there also there is a story about someone in the United States. All these stories are based in the US. I'll come to an Indian story as well later. So in the US, there was a fellow who joined the service at the age of in 1968. And he started saving only $100 per month. Only $100 per month, which is roughly equivalent to our 7,000 rupees today. So he started saving $100 per month in 1968, kept on investing for about 30 years. He had 3 sons, put all of them through college. And in the United States, it's very expensive to put children through college. One of them became a doctor, another became a lawyer, and the third one again became a corporate honcho. So in spite of all that, they at the time of his retirement, they found that he had $3 million. $3 million is around 21 crores, basically 21 crores in Indian rupees, if you look at it. But what was his job? What was his profession? That is what it will not be easy for you to guess. $100 per month he started investing. That's it. His job was a driver. He was just an ordinary driver. He made 21 crores. That is through systematic investments, and used that money to put his children through college. So in America, there is another study called "Being Dead is the Best Investment." Being dead it's allegory. It means that you invest, you forget about it. After some time, you realize you are suddenly rich. I told you our story as well. Started with just 2,000 rupees in July 2002. I wish I had started earlier. I joined central government in 1991. I was such a fool that I did not do any such investments. I started only in 2002. I want all of you, people who are students, the moment you get your job, start on day one. And all the professionals here, if you have not started it, please start now. Again, there are certain things which are very crucial in my presentation. I'll come to that. See, fundamental thing in investment is all of us work for money, isn't it? We get the salary at the end of the month. Rather, we should let the money work for us. And how to make the money work? You have to invest it. And what is investment? Investment is, there is a golden rule in investment. Is invest at least 30% of your gross monthly income. Very few people do that. That's why I have written easier said than done. Minimum 30% of the gross monthly income must be invested. Say, for instance, I invest about 1.4 lakh per month and do SIPs. I'm coming to what is an SIP, systematic investment plan. My wife invests 65,000. So together we cross more than 2 lakh per month. And why? Because it's such a powerful investment, no doubt about it. So coming back to these ladies here, this is not my comment. Please do not listen to your husbands in the matters of investments. This is from a book by David Back called Smart Women Finish Rich in the United States. So he found that wherever men involved and women listen to them, it's like the classic case of Rashmi that I told you, my deputy in Bangalore. So she admitted to me later, sir, because my husband didn't agree. This husband's not agreeing is a big issue. So my point is, you try to teach them. Try to teach your husbands or boyfriends or whoever. Try to teach them. If they listen, fine. If they don't listen, you go your way and invest on your own. That is what you must do. That is what you must do. And as I said, all Indian men think they are India's answer to Warren Buffett. This is about, waiting for, this particular slide is about waiting for the market to correct and all that. But that's not much. But I just wanted to introduce you to the concept. Okay. So what is a mutual fund? So mutual funds are managed by qualified fund managers. You can start with 500 rupees. You can start with 1,000 rupees. In fact, you should start small. Like I started with 2,000 rupees in 2002. Just 2,000 rupees, I remember. But at the same time, what do? They take your money, the money that you give to them online. You can book online. You can do everything online these days. And it will be invested in different types of investments. I'll come to that. Well, what are different types of investments? Primarily, they invest in equity market. Equity market means nothing but stocks. But at the same time, if you try to do it directly, it requires intensive research. None of us have that. You don't have it, even I don't have it. You are all engineers. I am a government servant. And it is also fraught with extreme risk. So always better leave it to the professionals. And one thing which you should never forget is equities have outperformed all other asset classes in the long run. What does it mean? This is a study from the United States. It is proven here in India as well. They studied all the investment opportunities from 1900. It has equity market has outperformed. It means it has given more returns than real estate, gold, fixed deposit, everything put together. And all you need is a compounding return of 12 to 15%. I have been getting that. I have been getting about 12.5 or so. It varies. So you must have very reasonable expectations. And a target should be to become a millionaire. What is a millionaire? Anyone who has $1 million in assets, excluding his residence and consumables. That's an American definition. I have just copied it here. Compared to that, only 2.5% of Americans are millionaires. In India, it's very less. An average age of a millionaire in the US is 56. So you can become a millionaire much before if you start investing in India, because India is a much growing economy. Now there is a couple. I put a couple of jokes here as well to enliven it a bit. Now, if you want to directly invest in the stock market, always remember the comment of American humorist Mark Twain. He said, January, February, March, April, May, June, and July are very dangerous months to invest in the stock market. So are August, September, October, November, and December. So that doesn't leave any months, isn't it? Then another one by William Bernstein is, a stockbroker is someone who invests your money till everything is gone. The third one is, after having been in the market for the last 30 years, I have come to a firm conclusion. The more I know that I just don't know. It's a nice comment. Nor does anyone else. So best option is to leave it to the professionals. Now, if somebody tells you that stock markets are extremely risky, they are dead wrong. Absolutely wrong. What do they mean by that? If risk means volatility, by risk we mean volatility, stock markets are inherently risky. If risk means losing your money in the long run, they are definitely not risky. I showed you a couple of things. One is my own story, starting with 2,000 rupees, worth several crores today. Or a case of Sundaram Midcap, just 10 lakh rupees then, worth 5.4 crores today. And on an average, Indian market from 1978 has delivered 18% per year. But don't expect 18%. You may not get 18%. You will definitely get 10 to 12%. That is pakka. That's 100%. No, you must also understand why and how the stock market moves. Equity market goes up and down. It is actually nothing but the reflect earnings of the companies. Earnings means the profit of the companies. I have given classic cases of Infosys and Reliance. Infosys, as many of you engineers know, it's primarily a IT bellwether. They have given fantastic returns to their investors. Reliance is India's best company, biggest company rather, in terms of market capitalization. I think it is worth $200 billion or something. Reliance. And Indian economy is growing. Indian sectors are growing. Of course, we have some problems with Corona now, but they are bound to take off. And always remember, my dear friends, one thing that I want to tell you is never look at the present. Always look at the future. Do not look at the present and be depressed. Look at what will happen in future. Always be optimistic, because that is what I will always be. And if the market goes down, please do not cry. Benjamin Graham, the guru of Warren Buffett, said, when the markets fall, when the stock markets crash, rejoice. That's what. So one more thing is, present state of the index does not matter when you invest in the long run. Today, it is current liquidity driven, means people are pumping in money and it is growing. And we have a COVID crisis. There is a recession fears. And then India, of course, India is a very young population. India is a country with a young population. Average age is less than 45. So there is a concept called demographic dividend, which we can utilize to grow. And coming back to the fundamental theory in investment is, there is a theory called asset allocation, rule of asset allocation. What does it mean? 100 minus your age. Suppose somebody who is a student here, 21. 100 minus your age should be in equities, stock market. What does it mean? Suppose you are 22, 82, 88 rupees, 78 rupees should be invested in equities. Only 22 should be kept somewhere else. I have another philosophy altogether. So this is again from one of the books that I've read. Investing is not a numbers game. It is a mind game. It's not a numbers game. It's a mind game. And it must be borne in mind that all the fixed deposits, bonds, debentures, etc., do not help. If you look at fixed deposits, all of you, people who are adults will know, you get only 6 to 7% from the banks, and you have to pay tax on it. There's one more story. India's biggest investor is Ragesh Jhunjhunwala. I have learned from him in Mumbai. I listened to his lecture when I was in the audience. He said he's worth $3 billion, $3.2 billion, almost 25,000 crores. But he said one point which all the adults will be surprised to hear here. That is, he said he had $3 billion. He said, I have only one property where I live, one house where I live. I firmly believe anyone who has more than one property. Was a fool, is a fool, and will remain a fool. That is so true, my dear friends. Absolutely true. I have seen with my own experience. So what is my point here? Go for equities. Do not have any unnecessary real estate. Not more than one house. That is the golden mantra. Though there is nothing wrong with real estate. There is absolutely nothing wrong with real estate. But the condition is you should not have any further desires. Why am I saying this? There is a reason I am saying this. Because I have a friend, Mr. Pradeep. So he has 5 properties. There are you will find many people. It's called asset rich, cash poor. Asset rich. You have very rich assets. Asset rich, cash. There is no cash. So my friend Pradeep one day told me he wants to come with me to Romania. I want to see Dracula. He says. He told me I want to see Dracula sitting in Chai Chai in Vadakar Junction. So I said, oh, come over, come with me. He said, no, I don't have money, but I have property. That should not happen. His property is worth around 5 properties are worth nearly 3.5 to 4 crores, but no cash in hand. So that is the problem. See, that is what you see all around you. Look all around you. Our own parents, your own parents, your own siblings, your own friends, surrounded by property. The other day, my classmate Shahul Kamit came. He came, retired from Dubai and came, worth 8 crores. He says, I have 7 properties with 8 crores and several police cases and court cases. That's all he has. Nothing else. Police, because people have engrossed and this is contractor, blah, blah, blah. So this is a study. Look at this slide, my dear friends. This is a study in India. It says real estate return has been 5.2%. Mutual funds have delivered, equity delivered 15.3 to 19.4%. I'm still saying do not expect that kind of return. Expect only 12% return, but you will sit pretty. So these are the real estate returns in the country. I didn't make all this. It's all from studies, clear case studies. So this is from one of the best books that I've read. It's called Coffee Can Investing. Coffee Can Investing by Saurabh Mukherjee, Rakshit Janjan. They're all IIT and IIM products. So they studied the real estate as an investment. So this is the line in their last chapter. Sorry, the paragraph chapter called Great Real Estate Trap. I'm reading it out for you. Having understood this, the question that they have asked is, does it make sense to invest in real estate? So they have answered, having understood all this, you have to ask yourself, does real estate deserve a place in your portfolio? We have seen in it is their comment, not mine. The answer is an emphatic no. If you ask me later, sometimes I will explain to you why they have said that. This is one of the legendary investor, Warren Buffett. He says, you buy anything only if you are willing to hold on for 10 years. And people who are young have much, much more time. Again, risk is doing something that you do not know. Always remember, there is no risk at all in the long run. So what happens? What should we do? Most people live from paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck means you get your salary at the end of the month, it vanishes. Next month again, you get your salary, end of the month again vanishes. Instead, what we should do is to pay yourself first. You have to pay yourself. Means you start SIPs, systematic investment plan. So at least 1,000 rupees per month. I told you, I go for an SIP of 1.4 lakh per month. I have friends who have more than 2 lakh per month. People have started with 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 5,000, 10,000 varies. And always live below your means. That is a fundamental mantra. Try not to exceed your income. So once you do that, you have a target, keep on investing. You will definitely be able to achieve your goals like retirement, travel, etc. So this is a classic statement. Having more money may not make you happy, but less money will make you desperately unhappy. That is so true, isn't it? So I'm talking about mutual funds. What are mutual funds? Mutual funds, I've told you, they pool the money from you and then invest. Mutual funds are divided into 2, basically. Open-ended and closed-ended. Open-ended are basically you can go and buy anytime. Closed-ended means they are open only at specific times. So I'm not advising that. You can't do that also. There is no point. Go for open-ended funds. Open-ended funds themselves are divided into different segments. Equity means purely stocks. Balanced means some stocks and some fixed deposits kind of thing. Debt means purely debts. Debt means corporate debt, bank deposits and bonds. Monthly income plans, money market, children's fund. I'm because of this, the profile of this group, I am concentrating only on equity. And equity mutual funds themselves are divided into diversified tax planning. You can use ATC. Anybody who has not covered under ATC, investments of 1,50,000 is allowed, can easily go under tax planning. They are called ELSS funds, equity linked savings funds. Index funds are basically tracks indices like Sensex, Nifty, like that. Sector funds are funds which take your money and invest only in specific sectors, like pharma sector, banking sector, FMCG sector, like that. How do you invest? There is a website called valueresearchonline.com. They are very impartial. They rate all the mutual funds in the country. They are a mirror of the American website called morningstar.com. So all that you have to do is to look at the 5-star rating and then invest. Close your eyes and invest. Other useful websites are moneycontrol.com, myiris.com. I have recommended some funds because I've been doing for this for 20 years and people keep asking me. So I have given my choice of funds as well. The Sundaram Mid Cap, ICICI Discovery, STFC Top 200, Mirai Asset Opportunities, ICICI Dynamic Plan, 1 or 2 sector funds like FMCG, Banking, Pharma. They're all doing well. And not only that, if you are looking for diversification, go for American funds. There are 2 types of American funds, which means they take your money and invest in Google, Amazon, Apple, etc. So I recently invested in this Motilal Oswal Nasdaq ETF fund of funds. I mean, it sounds very complicated, but it's very easy. Go online, just 500 rupees or 1000 rupees you can buy and forget about it. And there will be some doubts that you have whether you should go for a dividend option or a growth option. Dividend is where they give you money in hand. I have found it is a waste. The moment you get dividend in your hand, it fritters away. You waste that money. So best option is to go for growth option when you go online and buy. And as I told you about tax planning funds, there is a category called ATC under income tax. So please go ahead and buy that in case you do not have ATC already. And always go for existing funds, not any new funds which are announced. And if you want to invest, big money, some 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs at a time, allocate only money that you can park for at least 10 years, nothing less than 10 years, because anything can happen during the last 10 years. So in the next 1 or 2 months, 2 months, 3 months, it can crash. So these things give you enough return only when you look at it in the long run. And how do you invest? Through the AMC means asset management company's website, distributors. There are Carvi, then stock holding. There are so many companies like that who are distributors. Your own banks, your bank will do. Internet. Then there is know your customer is mandatory. Your only PAN card and stuff. Otherwise, Carvi, banks, Bajaj Capital, Sharekhan, Funds India. One thing that you should do is to create a systematic investment plan and portfolio that I showed you earlier. Create a portfolio and enjoy. You can read it every year, every day. And this is one comment which is very crucial. One who fails to plan, plans to fail. How do you take the money out? You can do it online. These days, everything is online. You can buy and sell anytime through the internet. But when you buy, keep invested. Another option is gold funds. You don't have to buy physical gold. These are all the funds will buy gold for you, and you will get returns based on the price of the gold. This again, I have got this a bit of this. They have gold has delivered more than around 10% during the last 10 years. Rule says, according to asset allocation rule, it says 15% can be put in gold. You also have an option of ETFs, exchange traded funds. They are the ones which are primarily investing in indices. I told you about Nifty, Sensex. That's also a very good option. This is about government pension and all that. There is another option called for others, normally for private employees. There's something called new pension scheme. That's another good one, scheme of the government. You can invest and then opt for equities. Anybody who's joining a service now or who's already there, who's not under a pension, under a guaranteed pension, can opt for it. It will give you good returns. Last I checked, it gave around 9.5%. So these are some of the best books that I've read. Anybody would like to read it, please do have a look at it. The Millionaire Next Door. Millionaire Next Door is a brilliant study by 2 professors, Dr. Thomas Stanley and Dr. William Dango. They studied the millionaires in the US and found that it is not the people who are flying, driving swanky cars and huge houses. They are not the ones who are rich. The rich are the guys who are sitting next door, looking very ordinary. Automatic Millionaire is written by David Bach. Penguin Guide to Personal Finance by Ashudath is a typical Indian context. Coffee Can Investing, I've already told you. It's a very nice one. Smart Women Finish Rich. All women must read this. It clearly says do not trust men. That's the whole point in investments. Okay. So of course, being engineers, I know all of you know how to calculate compounding interest because I take this class of government servants. Most of them are totally clueless as to how to. They are not engineers not engineers. This next clause is again not applicable to you. It is whatever as government servants, whenever we invest, we have to inform the government. It's 18(3) of the conduct rules. It's not applicable to you. So these are the things that my final parting thoughts. Where we are, please remember, where we are today is the result of the financial decisions that we took several years ago, isn't it? Where we will be years down the line will be based on the decisions that we take today. Besides, if you plan to directly invest in the stock market, remember, experience is the comb that the market gives you once you have lost all your hair. So the fundamental thing is you have to remember is your investment should be boring. Investment should always be boring, but your life should be interesting. So I have learned, I am in my 50s. So at least people who can learn, people who are young should learn this. Life should be interesting. Investment should be boring. The concept of comfort zone, you grow only when you move out of your comfort zone. So comfort zone, if you look at it, teaches you to invest only in real estate, gold, and fixed deposits. Think of, come out of that. Come out of that and invest in equities. I've already told you, 10 lakh has become 5.4 crore in spite of several years. Whatever happened during the several years. And take the decision to invest today. I assure you that you will not have a problem of money. See, one thing I can tell you, all of you who are listening, if you start investing and systematically do it, you will have a problem. I can tell you, you will have a problem. The problem is, what will you do with money? Yes, I know there are several people. If you are in the audience, you would have asked me, told me, no, sir, we will never have this problem. What will you do with money? But I have seen people who have actually invested, they have a genuine problem. What do you do with money? Beyond a point. You can travel the world, go in business class, but what do you do after that? You give charity. But what do you do after that? That's the question. So you will reach, my dear friends, you will reach that point. What will you do with money? So we'll have so much money, you won't know what to do with it. So there is a Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree, it's in present tense. Best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. So about investments, do not wait for perfect conditions to begin. Beginning makes the conditions perfect. And I'm quoting one of our illustrious presidents, aiming small is a crime. So aim big, my dear friends, aim big. You can be young without money, but you can't be old without it. Tennessee Williams. When I was young, I thought that money was the most important thing in life. When I was young. Now that I am old, I know that it is. Oscar Wilde. The investor's chief enemy is himself, Benjamin Graham, the guru of Warren Buffett. And Leo Tolstoy had said, two most important barriers are patience and time. That is so true, my dear friends, when it comes to investing. If investing, please never forget this as well. If investing is entertaining, if you are having fun, you are probably not making any money. Good investing is boring. Investing should be like, that is George Soros, again, one of those philanthropist billionaires. Investing should be more like watching paint dry or watching grass grow. If you want excitement, go to Las Vegas. Paul Samuelson, Nobel Prize winner in economics. So the best investors in the world have more of an edge in psychology than in finance. That's so true. Look, what is psychology? Look at it with a long-term perspective. Very few people can manage that. So until you can manage your emotions, do not expect to manage your money. Warren Buffett. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. Stephen Hawking. This is the fundamental principle of the premise of my lecture. Most people are asset rich, cash poor. Please look around you. You will realize what I am saying. Most people are asset rich, cash poor. Like my friend Pradeep that I told you, Shahul Hamid, all of them. We must target to become asset rich, cash rich. Mutual funds are cash, solid, liquid cash. You can withdraw anytime, and the principle is cash is king. So I am winding up. To sum up, my dear friends, if you are already doing a systematic investment plan, well and good. Otherwise, please start immediately. That is for people who are professionals. For people who are students, as soon as the moment you get your first paycheck, the moment you get your first salary, go and start an SIP, systematic investment plan, with whatever little money that you have, and go for equities. Equities means stock market. I told you, do not invest directly. If you have the wherewithal, if you have the knowledge, please go ahead and do it. No issues at all. You'll have to study. But because I read somewhere that investing in stock market, like a professional, it's like asking a person who is on the street to go and do neurosurgery. It's just not possible, isn't it? That is what it is. It is a professional's job. Leave it to the professionals. So again, to sum up, start an SIP immediately. If you have not done that, if you have done it, increase it. Absolutely increase it. I have told you what I have done. I invest 1.4 lakh per month. I've been doing that regularly. My wife is joined here. I think she's there. So she is contributing about 65,000. So together we contribute more than 2 lakh per month. So that has made us rich, to tell you the truth. Not claiming to be extremely rich, but we have enough. So, and again, buy or construct only one house. Do not buy a property for rent, to rent it out. Because average rental returns in the country, in India, as well as in the United States, is just 2%. There is absolutely no hazard. I have seen a number of my friends who have got 4 or 5 properties, do not have any further desires. No further desires in life. മറ്റ് ആഗ്രഹങ്ങളൊന്നും പാടില്ല. മറ്റ് ആഗ്രഹങ്ങൾ പാടില്ല. ഈ രാത്രി ഇരുന്ന് അളിയ എനിക്കും കൂടെ ഡ്രാക്കുളയെ കാണാൻ വരണം, വന്നേ പറ്റൂ. അപ്പൊ വന്നോളാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, പ്ലീസ് കം എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ പൈസ ഇല്ല, പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ഉണ്ട്, അത് പറയരുത്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ ഓൺലി തിങ്. Now I am going to Antarctica. It will cost me 20 lakhs. At least 4 or 5 of my friends have told me, Yari, you also want to come to Antarctica. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു പോരെ. but no money, only property. So that will not work. If you are comfortable with that kind of an answer, please go ahead and buy any number of properties. No issues at all. Otherwise, listen to Rakesh Junjunwal, the biggest investor in the country. Only one house where he lives. That's it. Rest of it is all in equities. That is what should be. So buy or construct only one property. What matters is liquidity. Liquidity means കയ്യിൽ കാശ് വേണം. നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാം കയ്യിലെ കാശ് വായിലെ ദോശ. That is what matters. Liquidity. കയ്യിൽ കാശ് വേണം. So and I have one more offer. Anybody who is listening to this my lecture, if you go start investing and invest for years together, if you have lost any money, do call me. You will get my number from Deepa. Call me and tell me, sir, I listened to you, I invested, I lost money. I will give you that money. You know, I have been teaching for the last 20 years. I have got only opposite comment. So many people have called me and thanked me. One day, one of my colleagues, a lady, called up from Stockholm. She said, sir, I am in Stockholm with my husband and child. I said, great, because I have also been to Stockholm. Scandinavia is one of the most expensive areas on the planet. So, but beautiful. So she said, sir, why I'm calling you from Stockholm to tell you that it is because of you that I and my family are traveling in Scandinavia. This is what you will tell me, not that you have lost money. So please remember, invest, do invest. If you have not done, you are already doing, increase it more. Do not have more than one real estate at all. If you have other desires. If you do not have any other desires, happy with the property, hug the property. Property where and finally, when you will become rich, I know you will become rich, all of you will become rich, you will have so much money that you won't know what to do with it. Please contribute to the society. I also do charity quite a bit. So please, that's called the concept of tithing. Tithing means 1/10. A little bit, give it to the poor. Never forget the way you came. So please don't forget. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, happy investing, and thank you so much for having me here. So thank you, Deepa or Amira. So who is going to take over? I would love questions. We have got about 10-15 minutes, I guess. I don't know, whatever time that moderator gives me.
Yes, sir. So the platform is now open for Q&A. You can either type the question in chat box, I'll read out. Otherwise, you can turn on your mic and ask the question directly.
Anybody? I hope people could hear, isn't it?
Yes, sir. That was audible.
That was audible. Any comments or let me see. Sometimes people ask questions on chat. It's surprising.
Yes, there is one query. So
Yeah,
nowadays, so many apps related to stocks. So is it good?
Yeah, that's a good question. See, there is something called Zerotha. So that is primarily, that's a very, very good question. There is an app called Zerotha, which is generally used by people, and there are other apps as well. But they are all primarily, for stock market, directly buying stocks, which I never advise. There is a reason, because to buy a stock, you should know extremely well about that company. There is an interesting statement. The most interesting statement is, if you can beat a professional fund manager, if you can beat BEAT, a professional fund manager, if you can beat a professional fund manager by investing on your own, you are in the wrong profession. I say you are in the wrong profession. You tell the AMC, asset management company, that I have beaten your fund manager. They will give you that job and give you 2 crore salary. So what does it mean? It is actually a sarcastic comment. The comment means that you will never be able to beat them. That is the point. And it is so true. So I will advise youngsters, if you have a lot of money to spare, go for an app and buy stocks. Otherwise, use that same app to buy mutual funds. Only mutual funds. Then again, as I told you, only the fundamental premise is long-term investments, nothing less than 10 years. Do not invest today, because I am telling you with all my experience. Several people have told me, invested today, sir, invest by 6 months, it has become negative. It doesn't work like that. You have to be there for 10 years. Nothing less than 10 years. If you get the money, if you multiply your money in 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it is well and good, but it may not last. Always, I told you, nobody becomes wealthy overnight. It takes systematic planning, investments. Even I started only with 2,000 rupees. So today, as I said, it's in crores. But wow, because systematically invested. I systematically invested. We withdrew money as well. My wife and I traveled to 60 countries, and these days I travel in business class. So, which needs a lot of money. So, as I said, but that won't be an issue at all. See, forget about money. Money is not your problem at all. Will not be a problem. That I can assure you. Only thing that you should not be is like my friend Sandosh. I don't want to tell you who he is. Of course, he's a chartered accountant. I don't want to name the full name. I'm giving you the full name. It's a very interesting story. His wife is she was the principal of this college, deaf and dumb school. So she was invited for a seminar like this. So she had to present a paper in New Jersey. First visit to the United States. So this gentleman has 6 properties. One in Plamud here, another in Charachira, and then another in Anayara. 6 properties. And imagine, this is a true story. I'm not making it up at all. Making it up at all. So all that he needed to accompany his wife was only 1.2 lakh rupees. Just 1.2 lakh rupees. But 6 properties, his 6 properties are worth about 4 to 5 crores. She went alone. You will not believe it. She went alone because this gentleman did not have 1.2 lakh rupees. He had 4 crore worth of property. Even today he has. So he is trying to sell it. He has been trying to sell it after this incident, but nobody wants it. Why? There is a concept called endowment effect, which means the price that you are looking for is not the price that the buyer is willing to, the buyer is wanting to pay. That is the difference. The difference is called endowment effect. നമ്മളുമായി ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന വില കിട്ടത്തില്ല ഒരിക്കലും real estate. Anything else? Good questions I can ask.
Sir, we have one more query.
Yeah.
Which company is best for systematic investment plan?
Yeah, so that's a good question again, Amira. So I have given you the list of some 6 or 7 funds. I can share that PPT with you. I'll give it to Deepa. So some have given 6 or 7 funds, number 1. But do not be swayed by what I have told you. You can go online to valueresearchonline.com, the website that I suggested. That's a very impartial website. They are not agents of any company, any mutual funds. I have given the list of 6 or 7 funds like ICICI Dynamic, ICICI Discovery, Sundaram Midcap, Motilal Oswal, NASDAQ. NASDAQ means an American fund. But that is my pick of the lot. I may not be the best. It keeps on changing. So my advice to the lady who asked this question is to go online to valueresearchonline.com. I'll share the PPT in any case. You study, you learn on your own. I mean, don't trust me. Please don't trust me. You learn on your own. It's good to learn. So good to learn. Then when you learn, it is knowing is believing, isn't it? Knowing and seeing is believing. So that makes a big difference. The best option is to go online, valueresearchonline.com, read and select any fund that they have rated as 5-star. That you will not go wrong at all. You will not go wrong. You will get substantial returns. I can assure you that. Anything else?
Sir, one more query. As a beginner, what should be our first step regarding investments?
Yeah, so that's again a good question. As I said, if you have never
one more similar question. I'm a college-going student. What should I invest in as a student? So I think that is similar.
So that is okay. I'll tell you the story of my daughter. We have our daughter. So if in case you can manage some money from your parents, we invested some 40,000 in my daughter's name. That is again multiplied some 60. It has already become 60,000, 1 lakh. So as a college-going student, the lady will not have money. I suppose you are dependent on your parents. So best option is to get some money from them. You use it as your pocket money, no doubt. You use it as a pocket money and spend whatever you feel like. But if you can save something, even 1,000 rupees, go online or go approach any one of those brokers that I told you. Go online and invest on your own. And being young is the best. I'll tell you something interesting that this lady asked. I invested 1,000 rupees in Sundaram Midcap, just 1,000 rupees as additional purchase, not as the first investment, additional purchase. My friend Rajesh at that time asked me in 2002 or 3, just 1,000 rupees. So he asked me, it's like Kaka so I just did it for the fun of it. Just did it for the heck of it. I still remember. Today I look at that value, it is 57,000 rupees. Never underestimate the power of investments. Just 1,000 rupees that I invested. I never took that. I just wanted to know what will happen. 57,000 rupees. Imagine. For a student, you get managed 1,000 rupees from your parent, father, invest it, or if they want to give you. In fact, since we taught our daughter investments, there is something else that has happened. Only good things will happen. My mother, that is her grandmother, my daughter's grandmother. My mother gave her 1 lakh rupees or 1 or 2 lakh rupees. My wife's mother, again another maternal grandmother, she also gave another 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees. So the moment the grandparents get to know that the boys and girls are investing, they will give you money. You will keep on getting money. Only thing is, don't fritter away. Do not waste it. Invest it. Best option is to invest it. But if you have only very little, go for SIPs, systematic investment plans, or one-time investments also. Even if it is 1,000 rupees or 2,000, you can go for a one-time investment. Let it be there. Let it multiply. And by the time you are 25, 30, you will have substantial sum. You can travel the world. I'm not talking about traveling the world alone. You have a lot of desires, isn't it? Enjoy it. With money, you can do anything. Not about it. Otherwise, I don't want you to end up like my friend Sandosh, whose wife went alone to New Jersey. I mean, it's a true story. It's a sad story. It's a very sad story, but it's a true story. And ironically, this gentleman is a chartered accountant. 6 properties worth 4 crores, 4 to 5 crores. No cash in hand. Even today, he doesn't have. No cash in hand. So that should not happen to any of you. This is the reason. I am older than all of you, most of you, except for the professor maybe. So I am talking with experience. It is generally, people, we generally go into what others do. My principle is, look at others, no doubt, but someone who is better. And do not do what somebody else is doing. You'll only become like them. Anything else, Amira? I've just got only 2 minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes.
Yes, sir. There are many questions.
Oh my God.
So we'll go for one last question.
Okay.
Is there anything like the best mode of investment, like monthly, half yearly, or annually?
Okay, that's a good question. I would say monthly. Always go for monthly. And monthly also doesn't mean you sit every month and keep on investing. Doesn't mean that. You just go online once. You just go once, sign it. There is this advertisement called fill it, shut it, forget it. It is exactly like that. Just go once, 1,000 or 2,000, whatever you can afford. I'm just saying. I'm not saying 1 lakh rupees and all. Just say if you can afford only 1,000 rupees, start with 1,000. If you can afford only 500, start with 500. But do it only once, and you decide the frequency. Monthly, yearly, monthly. Ideally, it should be monthly. And how many years? That is up to you. These days, mutual funds give you an option of 99 years. None of us are going to maybe leave. But you select 10 years, 15 years. Let it grow. Let it multiply. I can see more questions. Amira, maybe 1 or 2. Maybe do you have time for 1 minute?
Yes, sir. There is one more interesting question.
Okay.
For people above 50 years, which one is better? Single investment plan, or systematic investment plan, or one-time investment?
Yeah, so that's again a good question. So you should have both. Above the age of 50 means the time is running out. So you should have both. SIPs, above the age of 50, people will have money. They will have good salary, fantastic salary. So you must take that money and multiply, make as many number of SIPs as you can, number one. Like I have about some 7 or 8 funds, not 7, I think, more funds. I told you 1.4 lakh is my SIP, averaging 15,000, 20,000 like that. And I do both. Whenever you get lump sum, invest the lump sum in mutual funds. Do not look at it again. Do not look at it for next year, next month, 2 months, 3 months, not like that. So for people above the age of 50, do both SIPs as well as lump sum investment. Must. I have no problem, Amira. Only thing is, it's your time.
Yes, sir. With that, we have covered all the questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful session.
I think it was useful. I don't know. I'm not sure whether it was useful.
It was. It really was.
Thank you.
Especially the last statement you made, that we can call up to you and ask for our money.
Yeah. Certainly. Of course.
Yeah.
So far, I can tell you, nobody has blamed me. People have only told me from Stockholm. Thank you.
That is obvious.
Yeah.
When it comes to investing, nothing will pay off more than educating ourselves. So do the necessary research and analysis before making any investment decision. Next, I would like to extend my invitation to Dr. Vasandi for vote of thanks. Ma'am, handing on the platform to you.
Okay, thank you, Amira. Good evening, all. We are lucky to have a great speaker like Sri Manoj Dharmarajan in this evening. He has very nicely presented the relevance of the topic art of investment and how to do it, and the difference between mutual funds and stock markets, and how to take out the money, etc. I hope all those who are here attending his words are really inspired and ready to invest in the right way for the future. On behalf of WiE Kerala Section, I extend sincere gratitude to Sri Manoj Dharmarajan. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to all of you. So I know, please go ahead. I will switch off.
Thank you, ma'am, so much for sharing your time and feedback with us. We all agreed that Mr. Manoj has given us a deep understanding on investment. So we present a small token of gratitude from our part. Hope you like it, sir.
Okay.
I guess it's possible. Thank you so much.
Oh,
sir.
thank you. Right. Thanks. Right.
Okay. So
Thank you,
moving on.
Manoj sir.
Thank you. Right. Bye-bye.
We are
Sir, it would be nice if you can share any of your contact details, mail ID or contact number.
സാർ ലീവ് ചെയ്തെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു അമീറ വാങ്ങിച്ചു തരാം.
Okay. So moving on, WiE Colloquium, a panel discussion series joined by the WiE affinity groups of IEEE Kerala section, witnessed young female engineering aspirants brainstorming and discussing on the hot topics of Industry 4.0. And today we have 10 of our best speakers brainstorming on the hottest topic in tech, the Industry 4.0. I invite you all to the vigorous discussion and I hand over the platform to Ms. Megha Mary Biju.
Hello, Amira, am I audible?
Yes, Megha, you're audible.
Yes, so shall I begin?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. Very good evening to all. I'm Megha Mary Biju and I'll be your moderator for today's WiE Colloquium, a finale of a series of panel discussions that were held over a past couple of months. So in today's finale panel discussion, we have 9 amazing panelists who are joining us from all over Kerala to share their ideas and thoughts on a topic that is as relevant and exciting as Industry 4.0. Now, before we move on to the panel discussion, I would like to once again invite all the executive members of IEEE Kerala section, the link team, the WiE coordinator of IEEE link team, Amira, Sharon, and all the wonderful panelists and audience who've gathered here. Welcome to WiE Colloquium 2020. Industry 4.0 presents a very exciting future for us. In fact, to quote from one of my favorite authors, Dan Brown, he has said, "Consider this fact. It took early humans over 1 million years to progress from discovering fire to inventing the wheel. Then it took only a few thousand years to invent the printing press. Then it took only a couple of hundred years to build a telescope. In the centuries that followed, in ever-shortening spans, we have literally jumped from steam engines to gas-powered automobiles to space shuttles. And now, in less than 2 decades, we have begun modifying our very own DNA. Industry 4.0, in simplest of terms, is all about possibilities and opportunities. And we have 9 amazing panelists who are here to talk about as much as they can about all the various aspects of Industry 4.0. To give you a brief introduction into what it is, Industry 4.0 is an umbrella term that refers to changes happening in the industry, especially in the industrial value chain process. It encompasses all the different automation and computerization technologies in the current scenario. In fact, all these technologies are in their own individual levels of maturity, and that is what provides us with this opportunity, an opportunity for a wonderful future of possibilities. To begin with, in the opening statement, I would like to invite Ms. Parvati from the College of Engineering, Chenganur. She is a WiE outreach speaker herself, and a national level winner of the Putani Vignana Science Talent Search. In fact, I would like to invite her to give us an idea about the evolution of this Industry 4.0. Welcome, Parvati. Over to you.
So good evening all, hope I am audible. So before going deeper into Industry 4.0, it is necessary to know more about its evolution. So it's not an all of a sudden process, instead it have evolved through various processes including the three industrial revolution. So earlier the manufacturing industry was supported by human workers and work animals, but now we have reached a position where most of that stick to procedure task is done by machines. And the industrialization have changed the manufacturing industry a lot. So starting with the first industrial revolution that was between the late 1700s and the early 1800s. So it was the era of mechanization when we started the usage of water and even steam powered engines in the manufacturing industry. So next comes the second industrial revolution, which was between the 1870 and 1940. The era of electrification, often termed as a technological revolution, when we introduced electricity and even steel to the manufacturing industry. Even we have installed railroads and telegraph network for the proper transportation of people and even their ideas. Now comes the third industrial revolution, which is a digital revolution by the late 20th century. So after the two world wars and the Great Depression, the entire world was facing a financial crisis. Now we need something new, and that was brought by the third industrial revolution. It introduced advanced computers, supercomputers, and even it have used the communication technology. Now comes our last industrial revolution, which is our current topic, that is Industry 4.0, and it was originated in 2011. It was a project in the high-tech strategy of German government, and it promotes the computerization of manufacturing. It have even improved the efficiency of many companies. So that's all about the evolution of Industry 4.0. Hope you understood it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Parvati. In fact, you've condensed the entire history of how Industry 4.0 came about into that beautiful 2-minute opening statement. Thank you so much for it. So that brings us to the next question. What, yeah, I'm sorry for the interruption. So what led to the success of Industry 4.0? What was the reason why it's getting so successful, why it's having so many takers from all around the globe? So to talk about that, I would like to invite Ms. Navneeta. In fact, Navneeta is a student from the Government Engineering College, Barton Hill. She's currently holding the position as the chairperson of the WiE Affinity Group in their IEEE student branch. And she's a very passionate she's very passionate about cooking and music. So we have a person who of a jack of many trades amongst us. So I would like to invite you to give us an idea about what made Industry 4.0 click among the masses. Over to you, Navneeta.
Thank you, Megha, for that wonderful introduction. So I would like to talk about the opportunity quadrant, or as one would call it in simpler terms, the 4 paths to Industry 4.0 success. Forward-thinking manufacturers will likely find that they need a collection of new technologies to support organizational initiatives. So these new technologies will enable manufacturers to combine intelligent automation with robust and real-time decision-making capabilities, enabling a more productive and efficient manufacturing environment. So there are 4 optimization opportunities manufacturers should consider as they prepare for the success in Industry 4.0. And I'm going to take one opportunity at a time. So the first opportunity is workforce optimization. To ensure a smooth transition to new digital concepts, the workforce needs to be educated and given opportunities to participate in decision making. Helping employees understand overarching goals is the first step. The next is demonstrating its value and outlining the benefits. Lastly, arming personnel with technological tools will improve their own work experience and soon show them firsthand the advantages of accepting technology in the workspace. The second opportunity that I would like to talk about is process optimization. So we all know what artificial intelligence is. We've all heard about it. We're going to speak about it in the future. Artificial intelligence can basically analyze a system to identify potential bottlenecks, discover places to implement or reinforce the best practices, seek out opportunities to improve and automate repetitive tasks. So this powerful technology introduces transparency to business processes and reveals inefficiencies that may be preventing an organization from achieving a higher level of performance. So, by taking a staged approach to digital transformation and by building a greater connectivity across the supply chain, businesses can pave the way toward a fully connected future while still being able to tackle the biggest challenges that they face right now. Moving on to the third opportunity is asset optimization. Since we talked about workforce optimization and how we can optimize how the workforce works, now we need to talk about what manufacturers have to do to optimize their assets, to optimize their products. Since technology is changing at a rapid rate, making it difficult for manufacturers to stay on top of the latest innovations are essential. So the potential gains in efficiency and productivity from various technologies can help manufacturing operations run extremely smoothly. Affordable sensors can monitor equipment for early warning signs of downtime. In a maturity model of asset maintenance, a prescriptive approach is considered optimal. This will be more important in a post-digital era, and in this approach, advanced enterprise asset management solutions suggest preventive tactics, prescribe how to act, and also predict the outcome. Finally, when we talk about manufacturing a product, how the workforce has to work, we need to know how it is essential or how it helps the customer. So the fourth opportunity that I would like to talk about is customer experience. Industry 4.0 era has rewritten rules for customer engagement. Customers expect rich, compelling experiences and highly tailored transactions. Leading manufacturers are implementing technology that delivers a seamless experience for their customers. AI can introduce technology that delivers a seamless experience, and Industry 4.0 is forcing manufacturers to take a comprehensive look at how their operations are equipped to address today's top challenges, including the talent shortage, inefficient budget processes, supply chain complexities, asset management, and also meeting customer demands. So I would like to end the note by saying that manufacturers who are all in on new technology adoption are transitioning beyond proof of concept projects and are now focused on building repeatable use cases. And that is how an industry can become a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Navneeta, for in fact introducing the term of opportunity quadrant. I'm sure it adds to our vocabulary and it's something that we can go back and check what it is all about. So thank you so much for that, for your opening statement. So as we know, Industry 4.0 is basically, like I said, an umbrella of different technologies, and there are multiple technologies which act as pillars for all of them, for the whole idea of Industry 4.0 to take off. So that it can be many, and most of the terms we've heard of it, like IoT or AI or big data, cloud computing. We have so many technologies in place. So I guess we'll take this discussion further into some of the technologies that are enabling Industry 4.0. So we'll get an idea of what lays the foundation for this and what are the opportunities that we have. So I guess we'll begin with how IoT is helping, is in fact overhauling the entire process of the supply chain process, and it's bringing about a new era. And we have Ankita joining us to talk a little bit about it. Ankita is a civil engineering student from the College of Engineering, Kannur. In fact, she's a very, very active IEEE member. There must be so many of you who have known her from before. She is the chairperson, she's the communication coordinator of SHE, Women Affinity Club, under the HR cell of GC Kannur, and she's a very active volunteer of IEEE SB from Government Engineering College, Kannur. So over to you, Ankita.
Okay, so thank you for that introduction. I hope I'm audible, right? Yeah, okay. So right now, my fellow panelists have given you a very good introduction about what Industry 4.0 is and its successes and all that. So at this point of time, I guess it's very important that we understand that whenever we talk about Industry 4.0, there are these 9 major pillars that make up, like the building foundation stone of this Industry 4.0. And among that, the first technology or the first pillar that usually people code or what usually comes to people's minds is IoT. I mean, I guess that itself is enough to show its significance as how important this technology is in revolutionizing the fourth industrial revolution, right? So right now, I'll give some brief introduction as to how IoT is revolutionizing the Industry 4.0 as such. Okay, so when Industry 4.0 is all about transforming an entire industry digitally. It is all about digitally transforming an entire industry. IoT, on the other hand, is just a network of interconnected things. Okay, and what these things does is they are going to collect enormous amount, large chunks of data, real-time data from the environment. They are going to acquire the data, sense the data, and then they are going to transfer those data between themselves and also across the internet to their respective control centers or whatever. So why is data important, right? Why is data important? Data is important because the more data we have on the buyer demands or the buyer technology, the more nicely we can make decisions on what the buyer might need and what the industry has to offer them, right? The more data we have, the more right decisions we can make at the right time. That is exactly what IoT is going to provide. It's going to provide you a large chunk of data. Now, from a credible source, there was a report in 2017 which said that in the year 2016 alone, I mean, right now we just heard about investments, right? So in the year 2016 alone, there was a whooping investment of $40 billion in the IIoT industry alone. And the same report said that they are expecting a soaring investment of around $80 billion in the same industry in 2021. I mean, like, why should somebody, put in so much investment in such a technology? Because the results speak for themselves, right? Because the same report says that in the year 2016, in all the industries which had applied IoT, they saw a 12% increase in profit across the industry. I mean, I guess that is enough to show why this is important and why manufacturers should actually choose this, right? And on the other hand, there is this very famous saying which says that a lot of money in the marketing area is wasted when the wrong offers are made to the wrong people at the wrong time at the wrong place. So how do we change this? We can change this when we can predict the data, right? We can predict what might the buyer need, what is actually what we need to offer. And IoT exactly gives you this. IoT and Industry 4.0 together is going to give you with an enormous amount of data using which we can exactly know what buyer needs and what your technology needs. And I guess that is like a marketer's dream come true, right? That is exactly what a business needs. You need to know what your buyer needs. And if you are able to produce that to your buyer, you succeed. This is exactly what IoT, along with the fourth industrial revolution, is going to give you. So in a nutshell, we can say that IoT along with Industry 4.0 is going to give the top management and the top organization a clear-cut view of what is happening in their industry. They can know what is wrong and they can even predict what might go wrong so that they can take the right step at the right time, right? And there will be no delays also. So this is why, I guess, this is why IoT is being so much hyped around. Like recently, we all know that there are a lot of specialization courses on these things, but recently I could see that even a beta course was offered in IoT especially. That important this technology has become. So there's no wonder why we must stress on this and more investment should be made on this and people should be made more educated about this. That's it.
Yes, thank you, Ankita. You, in fact, you gave us so many examples. I'm sure it has really driven home the point about how important IoT is and how important data is. So moving on, as she said, there are so many, like 9 different pillars. But another pillar that equally contributes towards automating these industrial processes and supply chains from around the world is artificial intelligence. In fact, this is not a new term anymore. I'm pretty sure as engineering students, as final years, so many of us are already working with artificial intelligence on our final year projects. So I don't have to really tell you more about it. But to look at it from the Industry 4.0 perspective, how is AI contributing towards it? We have Tanmay joining us. Tanmay is a final year ECE student, and she is the chairperson of the WiE student branch at Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. So I would like to request Tanmay to take over and tell us a little more about AI from an industry 4.0 perspective. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Megha. Hope I'm audible. So I'll just take you guys through the importance of AI in Industry 4.0. So if you just consider Industry 4.0 as a human being, the automation and robotics sector can comprise the muscles of the human being, right? And the augmented and virtual reality and other sensors can add up sense to the human being. And the data and connectivity form the central nervous system. But what is actually missing? It's the brain which is actually missing. And the real brain behind Industry 4.0 is artificial intelligence. With this just one statement, we get to know how important is AI in Industry 4.0. So to give a brief introduction of AI, it's one of the emerging technology already being utilized by manufacturers to improve product quality, efficiency, and for cutting down the operation costs. So we are starting to see a working relationship between humans and robots, right? Like this area is getting benefited through the AI manufacturing plants. And when we consider about a smart factory, which comprises machines where all the machines communicate with each other, rely on AI automation platforms to collect and analyze the data, including text, images, etc. So nowadays we are very familiar with the term data scientist, right? What are actually data scientists? What do a data scientist do? They collect the information, the past information of the company to predict the future of a product. So just consider, it can be the demand of a product in future, or it can be the problem a product may face in future. So if a company knows now at this instant what this product is going to face in future, it can modify it in such a way that it can bring positivity not just for the company but also to its customers, right? Manufacturers who have undergone a digital transformation can organize and utilize their data sets and take advantage of the ability of AI and machine learning to improve the quality control, standardization, and maintenance through predictive analysis. So as of now, many companies are actually aiming to implement AI in their production process, but then only few companies are actually having a proper AI management plan to a greater extent. Talking about the tools which are actually the backbone of AI, machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning creates sophisticated algorithms which help us, which enables smart manufacturing. It collects all the data and analyzes it, and the changes in the data are automatically adapted. Coming to deep learning, it's again a subset evolved from machine learning. It creates its own neural networks that allow unsupervised learning, taking the autonomy of these methods even further, right? So according to a study, which I have seen recently, according to a study by IBM, that is termed as the global race of AI, almost 82% of the Spanish companies are already exploring the use of AI. It's really a very great thing. Scaling up their product models without compromising process quality is an essential key that gives rise to the competitiveness in the market. However, complexity of AI use in Industry 4.0 requires manufacturers to collaborate with specialists to achieve appropriate and customized solutions. Building the necessary technology is definitely costly, and it requires in-depth knowledge, not just internally, but also technically. I just want to conclude on by saying that as AI emerges from real life to real life to become the frontier of world-changing technologies, there is an urgent need for systematic development and implementation of AI to see its real impact in the next industrial revolution, that is Industry 4.0. So this is all I wanted to speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanvi. In fact, what I captured my kind of gave me a lot of interest was the human body analogy. So I think that will definitely help us, and we wouldn't be forgetting about it for a long while. So, as two of our earlier panelists had rightly pointed out, there is a huge increase in the amount of data that's generated. In fact, if you look at statistics, it is said that 75% of the total data that is generated in the world was generated throughout the entire course of human history was generated in the last 2 years. So we've had a jump of in terms of availability of data, whether it's customer reviews or how we behave on different social media platforms. How do our buying options differ based on the ads that we've seen? So much of data that's getting generated. In fact, as we speak, we are contributing to the database of so many companies. We never know how all this is going to affect some companies' algorithm in the future, as we are speaking right now over Zoom, and there are people watching us over YouTube and everything. So as we are speaking, we're generating a lot of data. So in such a situation, data is very important, and equally important is the cloud computing facilities that are being provided. So all of this put together, uh, have a huge contribution towards Industry 4.0. And I would like to invite Sanjana for her opening remarks on how big data and cloud computing is contributing towards this. Sanjana is a final year student from the College of Engineering, Trivandrum. She's a GHCI scholar, and she's the chair of IEEE SB from College of Engineering, Trivandrum. Over to you, Sanjana.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Megha. I'm the chair of IEEE SPS Society in CET. Okay, so I would like to continue from the sentence that Ankita made. The industrial IoT is the first pillar that we see in Industry 4.2, and it provides tons and tons of data. Data is most important, and this data is only of use when it can be analyzed, it can be stored, and it can be used later. Any data can be used later when for predictive analysis. So where does this data go? There are a lot of sensors and other things that are included in Industry 4.2, and they generate a lot of data. In addition to them, there is a lot of data like customer database, product database, when were the products sold, the supplier database, and all these things need to be stored and documented by a company. And the company does not want to invest their money and also resources on developing and maintaining a physical storage facility at their office. And if the company is going to operate at many places, then that will also not work. So the best option is cloud storage. Cloud storage has offered a whole new dimension to storing data, and it has helped the industry to scale up or scale down whenever possible. And cloud storage and cloud computing provides the facility to shift the work from home. And it is a major reason that even after facing so much of difficulties due to pandemic, the companies were easily able to shift to work from home culture and then work smoothly without any disturbances. It also helps the data to be accessed from anywhere and everywhere, and it can be edited also. So a company working in India, and it can have clients from US and work smoothly as the data can be accessed from here and there as same as before. And then virtual desktops, and they are emerging technologies, and it enables the employees of a company to not have any specialized laptops or any specialized software enabled devices in their homes, and even then access their company's data. And also it provides a complete security to the company's data because it is not stored on any device and there is no possibility of leaking data. And this huge amount of data which is stored in the company's cloud is useful only if it is converted to significant information. And to this large amount of data, that is petabytes or exabytes of data stored in the cloud, it cannot be analyzed manually or using traditional techniques to get the significant information from that. And then big data analytic techniques comes into picture, and they help in analyzing and maintaining the unstructured or structured data that is available to the company. For example, as Megha mentioned, everything that we do on internet is proctored, and every search we do is there with some companies. And even if we search for a phone in Flipkart, then the next time we use YouTube, we have an ad from some other website for a phone. And that is all because this data is being captured and it is being compared with similar data, similar searches, and similar searches of people with similar interests, and everything is analyzed and it is being stored in a structured manner so as to return to us. And that is the importance of big data analytics. And even we have companies like Amazon, they have sales and at different times of the year. It is because they can see that based on past data, and also based on prediction, like there is a festival coming on and people are going to buy dresses, so there is a sale put on Myntra. So everything is related, interrelated. And even if we take other technologies like AI feeds on data. AI relies on analyzing the data and then predicting something. And also things like IoT is definitely dependent on data, cyber security, and other things like humans, robots, autonomous robots. Everything that is other part of Industry 4.0 is definitely dependent on data and internet facility as a whole. So I would like to tell that the cloud computing, the internet facility, as well as the data present and the data analysis, it helps in taking the companies a step forward than what they used to be. And that's all I want to say.
Yes, thank you, Sanjana. In fact, if I may extrapolate from the earlier human body analogy, I think we could call data as something like the food we provide for the body, because for all other AI or all other predictive mechanisms to run, everything IoT basically collects a lot of data. So basically, I think data could be termed as something like the food we provide, the energy we provide to keep the whole system running. So moving on, with that we've discussed a lot of technologies that are keeping Industry 4.0 alive, which brings us to what is the future that we're looking at. That's a big question, and I think that is one of the most relevant questions that we are going to discuss today. What is the kind of future that we're looking at? Is it a future of possibilities, or is there something that we should be aware of as we move on into the future? In fact, we have had a lot of disruptions last year alone, if you take it. So what is the future that we are looking at? And to tell us more about it, I would like to invite Purnima. She's a student from Model Engineering College. She's a GHCI scholar and a poster presenter. And she's also the chairperson of Women in Engineering, IEEE MEC student branch. So I would like to invite Purnima to enlighten us on what future is holding for us.
Hi, Megha. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So I hope my video and audio both are there. I wish to throw some light on what future holds with regards to Industry 4.0 and the impact it would have on the society. Now, the future is all about personalized products, and technology is expected to advance in that aspect. So there's a mass increase in customized solutions, and it is expected that you'll be able to customize and configure products on a very detailed level, including everything from cars to personalized machines. So as mentioned by my fellow panelists, Industry 4.0, especially when it is coupled with machine learning and artificial intelligence, it will substantially change condition for workers. Many jobs will disappear, while we will gain a lot of new jobs as well, and many repetitive tasks that will shift from manual labor to automation. So this will have a big impact, and I wish to pinpoint some numbers that would show a critical understanding of what Industry 4.0 has to offer. So a study that was released by McKinsey Global, it shows that roughly 1/5 of the global workforce that will be impacted by the adoption of AI and automation, and the most impact will happen in developed nations like UK and US. And by 2022, 50% of the companies believe that automation will decrease the number of full-time staff, and by 2030, robots will replace 800 million workers across the world. Some particular industries are likely to get more affected, because we expect to see a reduction in the number of full-time staff in manufacturing and agricultural roles, as many of these positions, they're already being phased out due to increased automation. So there are even discussions that the fourth industrial revolution, it would create a corrupt future where robots have taken our jobs, and there's a massive wealth disparity between those who own a robot and those who don't. However, automating key tasks that could eradicate the more tedious aspects of our jobs, and it would allow human employees to focus more on meaningful and fulfilling tasks. Now, I would also like to touch on what the pre-COVID and post-COVID scenario of Industry 4.0 is. There's no doubt that COVID-19 is actually impacting how we live, how we work, and the global supply chain, it is actually experiencing a new level of disruption that we have never seen before. And some of the manufacturing companies, they have halted their production completely, while some have seen a great reduce in demand, while others have seen a massive increase in demand. So the Industry 4.0 pre-crisis environment, the business were focused on getting a competitive advantage, a cost reduction of productivity, sustainability, and innovation. But now for many manufacturers, the focus is survival essentially, and beyond that, it is damage limitation. So the COVID-19 pandemic is actually triggering Industry 4.0, and I must say that the crisis has brought an opportunity to drive further innovation. Moreover, we believe that adopting more smart approaches within the manufacturing process, it could minimize the dependency on human workers, thereby giving chance for factories to reduce the size of a shift even without downsizing the production. Now, one thing is for sure, that is COVID-19, it has not set us on a new path, it has just accelerated our progress. A couple of years back, Deloitte research actually showed that only 20.7% of the manufacturing organizations, they rated themselves as highly prepared to address the emerging business models of Industry 4.0. However, a recent study that was conducted by the Manufacturing Leadership Council, it showed that 45% of the survey said that digitization, it was essential for them to respond to the pandemic. And a further 53% they were expecting Industry 4.0 adoption to accelerate due to the experiences. Now, there are still many questions that are left to be answered regarding the future of Industry 4.0 and what it holds for the mankind. But there could be vast variations depending on other factors as well in order to provide a complete prediction. I think I would like to conclude on that note. Megha, if you could take over.
Yes. Thank you, Purnima, for giving us a lot of examples about how the employability scenario would change in future and how companies are adapting themselves to face the new future that they have in front of them. So again, that brings us to yet another highly relevant question. But before I move on to the next panelist, there's something I would like to tell the participants. I'm pretty sure you would be having a lot of questions in your mind or something like that. So if you have any questions, we'll be opening up the platform to a couple of questions at the end of the entire panel discussion. So you could jot it down now, and then I'm pretty sure our panelists would be open to answering them. So moving on, about how to prepare ourselves as engineers, as people who should be the harbingers of all this new technology into this world. How do we prepare ourselves? How do we make sure that we are a part of the onslaught, that we're not getting washed away by the technology, but we are actually riding on top of the wave of technology? How do we prepare ourselves for that? And I think Dia would like to tell us, would you like to tell us a little bit about how to prepare ourselves for what future has in store for us? And before moving on to Dia, I would just like to introduce her. She's a student from Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, and she's the technical coordinator of RSIT IEEE SB. So Dia, could you throw some light on how, as engineers, we should be prepared to not go under the tsunami of technology, but to actually ride on top of the wave?
Thank you, Megha, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you, WiE, for giving me this opportunity. So Industry 4.0 is all about dreaming big, doing big, and delivering big in terms of products and services and everything. So I would like to answer the two main questions, which is now in everyone's mind. First, is Industry 4.0 a relevant topic to be discussed in this COVID-19 pandemic situation? And second, if so, then what are the skills which we as well as the workspace needs to develop for it? So my fellow panelists had already answered the first question. So what main manufacturing the three phases. First one is survival, phase 2, recovery, and phase 3, doing back to the business. And all these three phases can be met by Industry 4.0 because the technologies in it actually helps them for it. For example, you could use the AI and ML algorithms to predict the profits, or you could use the 3D printing techniques to generate parts which is actually stuck in the supply chain. So moving to the second question, that is how we can prepare a workspace for Industry 4.0, I would personally suggest it's better to follow a 3R principle, that is retain, retrain, and recruit. Retain. It's crucial to retain the experienced workers within a workspace. Take the instance of the BMW. They have reconfigured the production lines with all skilled workers by installing easier to read computer screens, etc. And the second thing is retrain. For example, line workers could be trained to maintain the machines, so they could be acting like technicians. So employees can even be given some special incentives so that they are encouraged to learn new skills. And the third thing is recruiting. It's very important to recruit the new young people like us who is up to date with the technologies and so on. Now I would like to focus on some soft skills which the workspace employees as well as we the budding engineers need to develop for Industry 4.0. The first thing is complex problem solving skills. It's to identify the problem, evaluate all the possible solutions, and arrive at a perfect solution. So to develop this particular skill, you can actually work on logic puzzles, or you can keep an idea journal. And the most important thing is always try visualizing the problems. And the second skill is people management skill. No machines can replace a perfect worker with leadership and management skills. For this, I think personally, it's good to be organized and take the leadership opportunities whenever you get those chances. And the third thing is emotional intelligence. It's just to think and understand, evaluate others in their shoes. So it's actually obtained through the self-awareness, motivation, and regulations. And the fourth soft skill which we need to develop is judgment and decision making. It's all about condensing the vast amount of data and interpret the data and make the right decision. Actually, by this skill, you will get another soft skill, that is critical thinking skills too. And the fifth most important skill which we need to develop is service orientation. It's mainly to lead individual opinions and make conclusions and make decisions. For this, we have to practice active listening and improve our technical skills. So all these skills are met by meeting new people or through new experiences which you encounter in your life. So try to grab all the opportunities for it. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dia. In fact, I think the single most point that she said is, in fact, there were some of the panelists who had rightly pointed out a lot of repetitive jobs would be going in for an overhaul. All of them would be replaced by robots. But the silver lining of the cloud remains that human intelligence, human imagination, human creativity, leadership skills, all these soft skills are not going away for a long time. So instead of focusing on repetitive and things that can be automized, if we look into ourselves and realize our inner talents, our creative side of looking at problems, not the well-defined ideas of the past, but creative side of looking at problems and leadership skills, I think we can go a long way in securing our jobs, to say the least. And so that brings us to the next question of what are the challenges that Industry 4.0 is going to face? Because as much as the industry is moving forward on one side, the society as a whole, we're also progressing on a different path. So what could be the points of friction? What could be the points that cause some kind of aberration between how the society is progressing and how Industry 4.0 is progressing? Are there any challenges that we're going to face? And I think to talk more about it, I would like to invite Ashwati. Ashwati is a student from SEMS School of Engineering and Technology. She's a very active volunteer and she's a very passionate content writer for the IEEE SSET. And recently she got the opportunity to join the IEEE Consultant Network Affinity Group in Kerala. So congrats on the latest addition to your portfolio, and over to you, Ashwati. Ashwati, are you on mute or is it?
Hello.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
you're
okay.
on mute now.
So thank you so much, Megha. And so as we saw, Industry 4.0 is a very complex term that consists of many components and procedures. So there ought to be a lot of challenges that the organizations face when they implement this Industry 4.0 into their system. So these challenges could be economic, social, political, or organizational. So first, let's talk about the government. Government, of course, plays an important role in defining the whole system. That is, whenever there is a new technology coming up, for its successful adaptation, we require a set of well-defined, proper written policies so that all this development is keeping track of. Now, what happens when the government itself fails in keeping track of all these policies? It may lead to the downfall of the organization or the economy. And as we all know, we're living in a global competitive world. And in such a scenario, if there is a downfall faced by an organization, it will, of course, eventually lead to the deterioration of their competitiveness. So, of course, one important thing is that whenever the government, the political leaders, the authorities, the organizations should all make sure that whenever there is a technical progress, it is in such a way that it works for a beneficial way and it does not affect in any other way. It does not work against us. And the organizations must be able to adapt to the changing conditions and scenarios in terms of capital as well as machinery. They should be able to rethink their organization processes so as to bring out the maximum outcome they can. And another major issue is unemployment, because as we saw, yes, there'll be a lot of replacing of human beings with robots. So what will happen is that the highly educated and the higher skilled people will be given more jobs. They'll have more job opportunities, whereas the people with lesser education and low skills will be not given anything. They'll be downgraded. They'll be not given much opportunities because they're not aware about all this. So that is one major issue. And they're, of course, bringing in robots, they'll, of course, reduce the labor cost and will reduce the amount of human error. But there are areas where we require human contact and human job labor. We require them, and maybe even those areas will be replaced by robots. So that is an issue, and this brings us to a next important issue, that is income inequality gap. So that is studies that show us nowadays global income inequality is at a very high rate, that about the rich percentage is 8% globally. And these 8% of people are the ones who earn about half of the global income. And the rest, 92%, are just left with the other half of the income to earn. So that is a huge rate. And so we can say that with this technological advances, it will of course be beneficial for the richer section of the society, the ones who are more educated and more of high skills people, because they'll be able to adapt faster and easily to such changing conditions. They'll be able to learn, they'll be knowing more about it. Whereas the people with lesser education, as I said before, will have a downfall. They'll not be able to work anymore. They'll lose a lot of jobs. And this will lead us to poverty, of course, because with the rapid change in technology and all this economic growth, it'll eventually lead us to a rapid growth of unemployment and poverty as well. So that is a major issue. And another thing is gender gap. We say that, yes, of course, there has been a lot of development in women empowerment and upliftment. But even now, if we look at the STEM and IT fields, we can see that the percentage of women working in such fields are very much lesser than that of men. So it should be brought up. Women should be given equal opportunities and equal education and encouragement as men. And they should be working hand in hand to bring a better society and a better technological development to us. And another major issue is a question of security. Are we secure with all our data being given to the technological advancements? Are we secure? So the transparency and the cybersecurity must be the priorities of the organization. The wide use of internet today and the increasing use of social media creates the need for protection against internet bullying and personality insulting. Moreover, we have a great amount of our data which is given to different companies for different purposes. So we should be sure we have to make sure that all our data is not used for any other purposes. We have to be sure that we'll have to be confident that all this data which we're given is not misused. So for that, we of course require a lot of strict laws and rules, which will again we have to lay down by the government and the organizations, so that it is not used in any other malicious way such that it harms ourselves. So that is one question of security. Then illegal activities, that is, at times this new technology can be used in such a way that it is illegal, or maybe that even that it is not useful as much. So for example, if we have blockchain technologies for speculation purposes, has been proven prone to failures and may drive a great financial uncertainty. So that is one area where it is not used for its potential. It is used for some illegal purposes or for purposes which are not useful as much as it is. Now, another major issue we can point out is the climatic change. That is, with this rapid economic growth and industrial revolution, we can see that there'll be a great impact on nature and our climatic changes. There is, for example, we have new species such as the drought-resistant vegetables and fruits, and the new ecosystems that are created in order to deal with hunger. These, of course, have a benefit for sure, but when beyond a limit, they'll start producing undesirable and unpredictable ways of results. So that will not be harmful. That will not be helpful for us. That will be harmful for us. So we have to place strict limits, wherein beyond that limit, technology doesn't overtake us. So that is one area of climatic change. Now there are so many other challenges. These were just a few that I could point out, and it is more important that with this growing technology, we'll all have to have a fresh mindset. We'll have to move together towards new advancements. We'll have to refresh and adapt to new tech company cultures, nurturing and educating all the fresh talents and all the individuals, etc. And that is how we can overcome all these challenges and keep growing towards the technological scenario. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwati. In fact, you very rightly pointed out about how a lot of social structures are definitely going to be disrupted. They're already getting disrupted. We have seen, not strictly speaking with respect to Industry 4.0, but we know that technology does not know social boundaries like national boundaries or anything. We've had multiple cases where governments are locking horns with industrial giants. In fact, I think last week, there was this news about how governments all across Europe and America are filing a barrage of lawsuits against the FANG companies, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook to be more particular. So yes, there is going to be a lot of friction between governments and industrial companies, because obviously their priorities are going to be different as we move forward. But I think it's all about finding the common ground, find out a place where the basic idea of moving forward is to provide the best of facilities to humankind so that we can advance as a species. So that was a very, very comprehensive coverage of all the challenges that we're going to face, which brings us back to our own country, India. India, as we know, is moving towards Atmanirbhar, where our Honorable Prime Minister has urged us to be self-sufficient. So, and self-sufficient in all terms, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of all other services that we provide. We're starting to look into ourselves to realize the possibilities of India. So in such a situation, what does Industry 4.0 have in store for India? What is India's possibilities and opportunities as we are embarking on this journey for Industry 4.0? And to talk about that, we have Gayatri with us. Gayatri is a third-year EEE student, and she's a secretary of WiE IEEE NITC SB. In fact, she's very much interested in analyzing the impact of new technology and also looking at how history is going to get shaped as technology is developing. So I think she's one of the best persons who can tell us about how India, what are the possibilities and opportunities for India? So over to you, Gayatri.
Thank you, Megha. Good evening, judges, panelists, and everybody. So all my fellow panelists have talked to you about how Industry 4.0 is going to be, what Industry 4.0 is, and its various facets. I'd like to talk about how it will affect us, our country, and Indians. So now the Industry 4.0 global market is said to be worth around $214 billion in 3 years. Countries all over the world are racing to lead this change. Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, small countries are trying to use Industry 4.0 to increase their economic independence, and large countries like Japan, China, and Singapore have come up with their own initiatives like the Revitalization Strategy 2016 by Japan, Singapore's Smart Industry Readiness Index, and China's Make in China 2025. India is also in the run. We have tried to enter the Industry 4.0 industry with our Make in India initiative. And we also have the advantage that all the leading companies are now trying to diversify their manufacturing base. So now they want to move away from China because of the US-India trade war, US-China trade war, sorry. So all these are to our advantage. But there are a lot of challenges coming up for India that we need to be ready to face. The most biggest of which, like all of my panelists have elaborated on, is the labor problem. India has a labor workforce of 487 million people, of which 97% are unskilled or semi-skilled. This means that they have no training whatsoever and that they will not be ready for any change to Industry 4.0. India's vocational training capabilities require major evolutions, and governments and training institutes have to take this into account. So, right, but all this also does not mean that we are only going to face problems. We have some advantages because we have a very large domestic market and we are in a very strategic position in the globe that we can use a lot of our advantages. And some things that we can use is that small scale localized manufacturing with highly automated is going to really help us, because our problem is always that we have been only able to come up with a lot of medium scale and small enterprises. We are not capable of creating large scale enterprises given the diversity and the large scale of our country. But right now, even with all the legal challenges, our startups are the fourth largest startup market is India, and India will be able to take advantage of Industry 4.0. Another interesting thing that helps us out is the advent of digital platforms like Amazon and Flipkart. This means that many small MSMEs do not need to invest in costly supply chains, because the main reason that we are not able to use our technical expertise is that we do not have a supply chain network as big as the leading companies of the world. But now, even small companies that are startups can air their products online and compete with multinational enterprises because they do not have to invest in supply chains. All this is to the benefit of India. And at the forefront of this are our engineers. So now we as engineers have a little outdated syllabus. And so even though the government is trying to change this, we will not be able to do this in the near future. They will take time. And as the present generation of engineers, it is our duty to lead this change and take initiative and learn as much as possible these new technologies and bring them to the forefront. Advanced technologies like the 5G network, which is communications, comes under ECE, the wireless communication networks, the sensor networks, the AI and ML or cloud computing, big data. All of these are things that, especially us as IEEE students who deal with electronics, electrical, and computer science, are things that we have to focus on, innovate, and do so that we can bring India to the forefront and overtake other countries with technical expertise. I'll be talking about the Indian workforce a little more, but now I'd like to conclude and give it over to the next speaker.
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you for your opening statement. And with that, we've had all our panelists who have given us their opening statements, an introduction, and a very, very conclusive and very vast introduction, if I may say. So we have had multiple examples of how AI is put into actual use by companies, how companies are employing the powers of AI and IoT to better their supply chains and to improve the efficiency of their supply chain. So I think we could look into a few of the examples of how companies are actually putting it to use. And I would like to once again welcome Parvati to shed some light on that.
Okay, thank you, Megha. Hope I am audible. So far we have heard about all those technologies which were used in Industry 4.0. But now I'm going to discuss about those companies which have adopted 4.0 and how was their manufacturing process changed. So starting with Volkswagen and cloud computing. So as we all know that cloud computing serves or provides a platform for the users to store and process a vast amount of data in a remote server. So Volkswagen, in collaboration with Microsoft, have prepared a Volkswagen Automotive Cloud, which is a technology which has been emerged by 2020, and they have given us a wide range of features, including the smart home connectivity, a personal digital assistant, media streaming, and other updates. Now coming to the next example, which is of the Team Penske and digital twins. So digital twins is actually a technology that provides us a platform to create a digital structure of all those physical world or the real world objects and even process and even systems. And here we can even analyze the performance of these objects clearly. So Team Penske, which prepares cars for the Formula One and all, so they started using digital twins. With the help of digital twins, they have received a virtual test bed for analyzing the performance of their their racing cars, and it ultimately led to an increase in their production. So without even touching the physical car, they started providing some innovations. Now comes the General Electric and the augmented reality. So we know that the technology augmented reality, it actually fixes the gap between the physical world and the digital world by superimposing the virtual images onto a physical object. So General Electric have proved that how well these augmented reality have empowered their manufacturing. So what they have done is that they started using augmented reality smart glasses in their jet engine manufacturing system. So before the advent of these smart glasses, the workers often have to stop their work in between to refer the manual whether the work is going properly or not. So with the advent of these augmented reality smart glasses, they actually get digitized instructions regarding their work. So they were able to reduce that discontinuity in their work and improve their efficiency. Now comes the FEST robotics and the advanced robotics. As we all know, the new era of advanced robotics have brought up many products that help for handling the difficult and delicate tasks. And the California-based FEST robotics company started producing many autonomous mobile robots for like tracking, locating, and even moving the inventories in warehouse. So a Netherlands-based DHL started purchasing these AMRs, and they started using it for their pick and place operation. Thereby, they have improved their warehouse operations. So in this way, they too improved their productivity and efficiency, even their sustainability and flexibility. So these are very few examples of those companies who have adopted Industry 4.0, and they were all like a successful story. And I hope these examples are so clear for you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Parvati. In fact, I must say the future does look very exciting because of all the examples that she's given. With respect to industry, we can surely have a lot of penetration of all these technologies into the common man's life. And yes, the future does look very exciting. As we are almost approaching the end of this panel discussion, there is a very important question that we have left unattended, and it's about how sustainable is or how sustainable is the whole idea of Industry 4.0 in the long run. We've had a discussion on the challenges, the opportunities, and everything. So how in the sustainability aspect, how much can we go forward into the future? And I think Dia can tell us a little bit about that. Dia, over to you.
So ever since this Industry 4.0 has come across the industries, the one major question which we always face is about the socio-economic equality and the environment sustainability aspects. So we know that the industries are the major reason for the release of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. But in Industry 4.0, the industry uses certain kind of sensors. So if the excess amount of carbon dioxide or any other greenhouse gases are ready to be emitted to the environment, These sensors will definitely sense it and they will give an alarm message on real time. And thus we are going to know about the consequences at real time. That's where the Industry 4.0 stands out in establishing a sustainability aspect in environment. Now, regarding the question of social economic equality, the Wipro had actually worked on a project with Dana-Farber Institute and Harvard Medical Center on treating cancer. So you know that lung cancer is something which actually needs an expert oncologist to counter the image for the treatment. So when you talk about the equitable society across the globe, expecting the same level of expertise of Harvard Medical Center's oncologist in Africa or in any parts of the country, it's not actually possible. So, but the project which they had done had actually brought in a new technique to contour the cancer cells using AI. So that's a kind of social equality for healthcare. And using the technologies in Industry 4.0, the workers' productivity is increased. As workers' productivity is increased, economic conditions of the workers will also be improved. And when you're thinking from the aspect of consumers, they are also getting benefited. So in long run, Industry 4.0 is definitely going to bring a lot of changes in lives of humans. Thank you.
Thank you, Dia, for a very comprehensive for comprehensively telling us about how sustainability can be achieved with Industry 4.0. And that's definitely good news, right? In the face of everything that we've done to our planet for so long, if Industry 4.0 can be a solution, then it should be definitely one path that we have to follow in future. And with that, I think we'll have the last speaker for today's session or today's panel discussion, as Gayatri had, in fact, she left off a little bit about how Indian workforce and how Indian workforce and the Industry 4.0 and the dynamics between both of that. So I think we'll take that up once again, and with that we'll slowly come to the end. So soon after this, we'll be opening it up to questions. So yeah, attendees, you're open to ask them questions. Over to you, Gayatri.
Thanks, Megha. And so now, yeah, the last part, I'd like to end this discussion by telling all of you what we could do as engineers to contribute to the Industry 4.0. A skilled workforce can only be the backbone of Indian industry 4.0. And right now, we know that our engineering workforce is not skilled enough to take care of the Industry 4.0 needs. So, and there are also a lot of challenges coming up that can only be taken care of by us. Like, for example, let's consider the labor force problem. Now, these labor forces will need new skills to learn. And who will tell them what these skills are? We as engineers have to be the people to diagnose, to analyze the systems that we are using in Industry 4.0 and come up with the new skills that need to be trained to the Indian labor force, so that we have a vast and a substantial labor force to work in the factories that will be the driving force behind Industry 4.0. Secondly, now let's take the issue of sustainability. There are some key technologies that are coming up that will be a key part of countering the environmental aspects of Industry 4.0. One of them is neuromorphic engineering. Like currently, everything, all of the communications, all the computing aspects that we use require a large amount of energy to sustain them. The supercomputers that we use for AI, they take a large drain in our energy output. When we start using this at a large scale, in a few years, actually there is a study that in 15 years, the energy required for our computing needs will be 100 times of the energy that we are currently producing. How are we going to counter this? The answer to this is a type of engineering called neuromorphic engineering that will be a type of computing in which we are mimicking the brain's capabilities and making computers with far less energy input. So like if a current supercomputer requires kilowatts, thousands of kilowatts of energy, these computers will be requiring only 25 kilowatts of energy. These fields have to be studied by us as Indian engineers and be brought into the Indian industry for us to tackle these challenges that will come up. Apart from this, there is the problem of the sectors of the Indian industry. Indian industries profits is dominated by the Indian services sector. but Indian industry's population is dominated by the Indian agriculture sector. And we as engineers must come up with solutions which will include the agriculture sector in our change to Industry 4.0. That is, we must be able to give them solutions that will be able to tackle the vast amount of improvements that we need technically in the agricultural field as well. And only when we break these norms and we as engineers start begin to innovate, begin to come up with startups, and begin to come up with, even in the companies that we are employed with, in new sustainable and new innovative tactics to counter the challenges that India will face, will we be able to bring India to the forefront of Industry 4.0. And that is how I'd like to conclude.
Thank you, Gayatri. In fact, that's a perfect conclusion to the whole idea that we've discussed. Is India enoughly equipped as engineers? Are we enoughly equipped to face the future? Are we ready to ride on the wave and not get washed away by the wave? So with that, we've come to the end of the panel discussion, and the floor is currently open for questions. If the participants have anything that they would like to ask the panelists, I welcome you to do the same. So do we have any questions right now? Okay, it's an awkward silence, but yeah, I think we don't have any questions as of now. So yes, we have one question, and it's a pretty long question. Nimmi John. Okay, I think I guess this question can be open to all, any of the panelists. If you wish, you could answer the question. I'll just read it out for the benefit of all. In the evolution of Industry 4.0, she has said, okay, I think she's pointing it to a particular panelist. If you could just note down the name, that will be nice. Nimmi, if you could just type down the name. She said that the human workers and work animals are going to be replaced by machines. Does that mean that Industry 4.0 will lead to unemployment? Parvati, okay, she's got the question pointed to Parvati. So would you like to answer that?
Yes, thanks for the question. So recently I have seen that question. I think the person who asked this question missed a phrase that I have used. It's a stick to procedure task. Means only after this industrialization, robots have replaced and only in this stick to procedure task. Means those tasks which have certain procedure, and a slight deviation from that procedure is not acceptable at all. So all those advertisements and poster which we have recently seen, which is related to this technological advancement, it literally shows that it makes the man more idle or it creates unemployment. Like recently I have seen a then and now poster. It's quite funny. So in the then side, it was shown that the person is making a coffee for himself. And on the now side, it is shown that the same person is sitting on a couch with all his snacks around and the machine is preparing a coffee for him. So literally the poster conveys that the person became more idle with the technological advancement. But the fact it isn't, means the fact which is shown through this poster was not the right one, because here with the help of industrialization, we are actually providing the proper staffing. So what makes a man different from other animals is that their thinking and reasoning ability. So far, these things which like a stick to procedure task often requires they doesn't have to use their brain at all. Instead, they are working like a mechanical instrument, repeating the same task throughout their working hours. So there doesn't require the means potential or the use of brain. Instead, man have to devote their time for something else, where their thinking and reasoning ability or the potential is being used rightly, like brainstorming, critical thinking, problem solving. So I would like to say that with industrialization, it have enabled proper staffing. Now the man is doing the right thing, or now the human is doing the right task which he or she have to do. So with that, with the proper staffing, it actually empowered it improved the productivity of all those companies. So it doesn't mean that we have to prepare a machine and let it do whatever it wants, but we have to supervise it. Otherwise, if we let it decide whatever it can, then it will lead to that story which were shown in I hope it's in Endiran and then Android Kunjapan. That movie literally shows that how the machine starts deciding its own and what was the result. So it's not like that. We still have to decide because we have the brain and we have the emotion. So we have to use that reasoning and thinking. It doesn't encourages unemployment, but it encourages staffing. So that's the point which you missed. That is a stick to procedure task. So I hope it's clear for you.
Yes, Parvati, thank you for the answer. She's very precisely put it. Human innate abilities are not innate abilities to do repetitive tasks. Our innate abilities lie in imagination and creative thinking and logical reasoning. So even if the repetitive jobs go away, I'm pretty sure the jobs that require humans to utilize their inner capabilities are definitely going to be here for a very long time. And yeah, that was like a very good answer. In fact, yes, Nimi has also said thank you to Parvati for that answer. So do we have any questions left, or can we draw close to the panel discussion? Okay, I'm just assuming there are no more questions left because there wasn't anything typed during when Parvati was answering the question. So I would like to thank all the panelists here for spending time with us. In fact, I think they've covered everything, like so much. We started with evolution, how we started, in fact, from industrial revolution back where it started in England to we've come to a case where we are discussing about internet penetration in our own homes. So that was a long journey. We've covered so many aspects to it. We've covered the challenges, the opportunities. How do we prepare ourselves? What are different pillars? The list is quite long. And to sum it up, it's one quote that I hold very dear to my heart. It is that as an engineer, I hold that quote in the highest esteem. It says, any sufficiently advanced technology is magic. So it is this magic that we are going to look forward to, and let's all keep an open mind. As rightly pointed out by one of the panelists, let's all unlearn and relearn and reskill and upskill ourselves to face a wonderful future of opportunities that's awaiting us as engineers. In fact, I could say we're like one step ahead when it comes to harnessing technology. So all the best to all of you all the best to the attendees. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Amira, for giving us all this opportunity. Thank you to the organizers for making this happen. It's been a great journey with you all. And thank you so much. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Have a wonderful one, guys. Let 2021 not be anything like 2020. Let's all have a better year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to all the panelists for their valuable contributions toward the vibrant discussion, and hats off to the moderator for coordinating it so well. So here it is. As I said, I have a surprise for you all. It is a small token of gratitude from our part. We hope you like it. Yeah. So today we have come to the end of the day. WiE's 2020 is designed to provide opportunities to discuss, to debate, to obtain new insights or ideas, to network, and to be an important part of your current and future success. I would like to extend heartfelt gratitude to everyone that has been involved in the organization of this program for their dynamic efforts, and all the honorable dignitaries who have graced this occasion with their presence. Thank you all for you here for joining us. Although WiE's 2020 cannot be held physically, we hope that all of you would experience the full-fledged integrity and quality of the content in this virtual environment. Thank you for your support of our shared mission to advance technology for humanity. And tomorrow, we'll be back with Dhamaka and Pataka. Good night.